You're live, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Let's call a meeting to order for the Parks, Recreation, and Leisure Activities. September 2nd, 12 o'clock. Any declarations of conflict of interest?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, we'll move to approve the agenda. Can I have approval of the agenda?
I'll approve it.
Moved by Kevin, second by Bobby.
Sure. Yeah, I'd just like to add an article of new business if I can, George.
What's that?
I'd just like to add to the agenda under new business, if I could just add something there.
Or approval of the agenda. Do you want to bring it up now?
Yep, no, I approve the agenda, that's great.
But you have to add to the agenda.
Yeah, but you have to add to it there. Like you're approving the agenda, so if you want to add something to the agenda, now it's time to add it.
Which is the volume?
Okay, I'd just like under new business to have a discussion on the naming of a park, if it's a possibility.
Under new business. Yeah, we'll just add it to the agenda now if everybody's okay with it.
Sure.
You okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Name of park. Adoption of the minutes for July 5th, 2021.
Sure.
Moved by Kevin, second by Bobby.
Sure.
Okay. Business arising from the minutes. Seeing
I'm
none,
good.
we'll move to the reports. The first one is the Seniors Active Living was requesting do some negotiating on the lease agreement. So even though the facility is in Cary and Parks and Rec is somewhat responsible for the functioning of Cary, we're not responsible for the financing of it. So I think the recommendation is to move that out to Finance Committee, correct?
That is correct, Councilor.
Everybody okay with that?
Sure.
Okay, moved by Kevin, second.
Sure,
Everybody
Councilor
agree?
Bernard, do you mind if I go wash my hands? Dr. Morrison says wash your hands now.
Sure thing,
It's an
yeah.
all building.
Awarding of RSP for Fountains Hall area boardwalk replacement. Frank, you want to take that?
All right. Sorry, gotta get organized here. So you'll see that there, recently the city and Charlottetown Harbor Authority collaborated with Charlottetown Area Development Corporation to coordinate and oversee the replacement of multiple sections of boardwalk down around Vanders Hall. So the Charlottetown Harbor Authority, CADC went out and did an RFP to get bids on the 5 sections of boardwalk. One of those sections are maintained by the city, so that's the one that we're responsible to replace. And you'll see the resolution there for it. They're recommending to award to Sparrow Construction in the amount of $73,439.34 plus applicable taxes. CADC will oversee this, and they're actually going to be overseeing the company doing the work, and we're going to reimburse them for that amount of money. And then in addition, there is a $4,000 plus applicable taxes for CADC for the project management services.
Okay,
So-
so Spirit Construction is the lowest bidder, and that's what you're recommending?
They're the lowest bidder. And you'll see it's 113 meters of boardwalk that we're replacing. It's 8 feet wide. It runs right along the waterfront between Lobster on the Wharf and the Seaport Center. So it's in need of being replaced. The boardwalk is starting to fail. There's some areas washing out underneath, and it's becoming more difficult to remove snow in the wintertime and maintain. So,
Okay. Anybody got any questions on that?
I do, Mr. Chair.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
So that's, Frank, you and I discussed that the other day too, briefly, but that's all under this budget, they're doing that. This is not new money we're looking for.
no, so there's actually, this came in under budget. We have $110,000 budgeted in the account.
Okay.
If there's more money, we'll say the resolution.
Yeah, so this actually came in under budget. It was a very good, we were very
Yes.
very good bids received, so
Yes.
we were quite surprised, which is nice.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I have a mover and a seconder?
I'll move it.
Okay, moved by and second by
I'll
Laura.
second.
All right, thank you. West Florida Community Center multi-sport outdoor facility, verbal update and discussion. Frank, you want to take that? I believe when we last talked, we were over budget by about $100,000. We did put an application in for further funding, so you're waiting to hear back on that?
That is correct, yeah. So we've submitted an application to ACOA for a program they had open to, what's it called, the Canada Community Revitalization Fund. So we submitted an application for 50% cost of the actual project. We're waiting to hear on that. Of course, we all know the election was called right now, so we would not be anticipated to hear back from that. Mid-October would be the earliest, but what I'm being told, it'd probably be late October.
Okay, so my understanding is when we filled out that application, it met all the criteria.
It met all that criteria, but yeah, so whether it's...
50% cost, if we're looking at $300,000, it would be $150,000 cost, so, okay.
So it's quite a what I call it, nice, we get for successful that, it'll help cover a substantial amount of the cost. Right now too, if we attempted to award it right now, there wouldn't be the window of opportunity to complete the project due to timelines. We're into September now.
Okay, so, yeah, so we were hoping to get word before the election was called, and obviously that didn't happen, so, okay. Everybody okay with that?
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Recommendation on container washroom option for Confederation landing. So this is where we had talked about self-cleaning, and we moved on to the container type washrooms that are quite nice. So ask Frank to bring in some pictures in that. I think you kind of nailed down to one, Frank, is my understanding?
Yeah, so Nancy contacted Elantra, is that how you say that? Elantra. So, and there could be other companies out there that have washrooms, these container style washrooms. But this company here, when Nancy contacted them, they're Atlantic supplier, they're based in the Atlantic provinces here. We're looking at a container washroom of 11 by 20, so 11 feet by 20,
Yep.
with 2 unisex barrier-free toilets and a mechanical room.
How many toilets?
2.
Okay.
And
And 2 sinks?
yeah, there'd be 2 sinks in there as well, yeah.
So that's, okay, so it's
Yeah, so
small.
it's just, sort of single kind of.
20 feet though, you think there's more room for that?
So what the additional space is for, and this is what's interesting, is these are self-contained. So which means that they actually have, if you look at the, now they're on the layout and design,
Yep.
there's a mechanical room.
Yep.
So what means that they're self-contained, that they have a spot where the actual water tank is, where the actual sewer tank is. They have your,
That's
your
right,
hot
too.
water
Yes,
heater,
yes, I
your
forgot.
press
Yes,
tank.
yeah.
All you need to be able to do is connect to electrical.
Yeah.
So this is something you could potentially try down at the landing, say next, we're recommending.
We can move this wherever we want.
Yeah, but maybe we try next year, first say lease it. There is a lease option that you can actually lease it for, a month. I think you have to commit to at least do it a month, but you could potentially do it for a month or 2 months, see how it works. If it works well, then the city could look at purchasing one. And if we purchase it,
So we can do lease to buy?
you could do the lease, I think you can, isn't it? Yeah, there could be a bit more cost to it, but you'll see what the cost I put in there to buy outright was in the range of $70,000 plus applicable taxes.
I wonder why, have you guys considered leasing it per year? Just leasing it and at the end of the year moving out, because we don't need it later.
Well, it's something the lease I think is, I forget what the actual amount is, right here. It is around, around $3,000 a month.
So May, June, July, August, September.
So you're talking, $12,000 to $15,000 a month. So, the
A-
cost is
a
$70,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be $3,000 a month plus your tax. So by the time you had 5 months on that, you're talking $15,000 at 70,000 plus tax and then 5,000 for the ramp, which we'd have to add the ramp even if we released it because it doesn't come with one, the accessible ramp. So, you'd be talking 70,000, 80,000, 5 years. You would actually, if you leased it for 5 years, you'd be able to, you could have bought a new one.
Let's go with the recommendation with Lisa for next year, see how it works out. Let's see what kind of costs you incur and stuff like that, and then we'll make a decision.
And maybe we just lease it for a month or 2 months. There is a time frame with regards to, I believe Nancy indicated that this year in particular, if we were ordering it, we'd have to order it now for 2022. They don't have any in stock.
Peter, we should be able to work at a lease to buy arrangement, and that will release it, but that money goes towards purchase of design, purchase the engineer.
That would have to be negotiable, yes.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, we can enter into a contract and see what, we'll look into that to see what the actual cost is, but let's say we lease it for 2 months and say, okay, yeah, we want to buy it.
yeah,
Is there an additional cost associated with that? We would like it to be sort of the color that we would prefer. Right now, the one that I believe Jack, the picture Jack, I put in the back there, are, they're black and white,
It's white with blue.
but it's a white with blue, and the rental one has their contact information on it. If we're buying it, of course, we're not gonna wanna have that, and we're gonna dress it up a bit around the bottom, put like a skirting around it, so that it looks more suitable, but we'd make it an appropriate color for Confederation Landing.
yeah, for sure.
And then you'd also.
The ones that I've seen were much more attractive looking than this.
Well,
On the other side.
this is a rental one, so that's the difference. You can go onto their website and see sort of what they show, and we're gonna sort of collect a few other ones where it is a container, so it is gonna be box-like. But it's in a location down at the landing that was potential at one time, a rail yard and all that kind of thing. So it might, I think you could make it look appropriate for the site, for the Confederation Landing. The biggest thing is that it's portable, so let's say we had it down there for 6 months in the summer, and then we had an event that was at the events ground, or we had an event somewhere else, it can be moved to another location.
No, I realize that.
So
Okay,
that's a nice feature of it.
so is everybody okay with that?
So how long are we looking at sort of keeping it down there, Frank? 3 months, 6 months?
Yeah, it'd be early May, if not before that, I would say.
You'll start in early May until what?
Yeah, probably the middle of April is usually when staff start coming on in public works, so we'd want to have it say the middle of April to probably the middle of November.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's more than 6 months now, we found that.
it isn't 12 months, yeah.
It's not 12 months, and you could potentially leave it down there, but
Right.
you might decide, yeah, let's leave it down there. It can be heated and everything.
Okay.
And it can, so another option too is if we decide we don't want to have the actual self-contained part, it can be hooked up to the city's water and sewer system
Okay.
at a cost of
Okay.
20 to 30,000.
Mr. Chair, if you,
Alana,
sorry,
Go ahead, please.
go ahead.
ladies first.
So why would we not hook it up to our own? Is it because the whole idea is you want it to be portable?
Well, that's the flexibility of it. So, but we could try it. I guess the biggest thing, let's try to see what this looks like, how
Right.
it fits in the park. And if we decide then down the road that we want to hook to the city's water system, it is going to be about a $20,000 to $30,000 additional cost.
Because you think about, you'd never move this to the events ground with a $10,000, 10,000 people event. 2 toilets is not gonna do much good for an event.
Oh, no, but it could be safe for, say it could be associated with the.
Yeah, it may not be a
Soccer
10,000
tournament
person
or
event,
something,
it could be a 2,000 person event.
Right.
I mean, they had car shows there this summer.
Yeah,
If something
But
like
it
that.
could be additional, say for, say your performers or that kind of thing, if you need additional washing.
Oh,
those
okay,
kind of
gotcha.
things.
Yeah.
And when we're looking at, say, when we have
Yeah, that
events,
makes
say at Joe Gates Park, for example, and there's no washing facilities there, or you have it out at some of our ball fields where you have a tournament, it could add that nice flexibility that you
Sure.
could bring this to the site. The only problem is those events all take place during the summer, and we wouldn't want to move it from that location. So we'd want to leave it there. So it might be that at the end of the day, we try it, it looks really good, and we actually put it on actual, I think they refer to it as skids. So they actually take it off the wheels and it actually sits there permanently, and we make it appropriately around it, and then connect to the city's water system and sewer system, and it's there for
Frank, do you
forever.
have any idea, I see there's a holding tank and stuff, obviously, because that's where the water comes from. So at what capacity does all of a sudden it needs to be refilled? Like, how does that work? Like it's-
They did mention something, I didn't go into the full details, Nancy might know, but there is, like, you'd have to monitor it, so you'd fill it with water, and then the actual waste would have to be drained out by a septic.
They figured it
system.
out as it went, I guess.
Well, and this is sort of the reason why I think it'd be good for us to try it, to see how often it needs to be filled and drained, and,
It actually has a gauge on it.
Yeah, so
It's
there's
getting
gonna
all
be
these games
expenses that
done.
go with it. There's gonna be septic removal, there's gonna be maintenance.
if we didn't hook up to the permanent, if we didn't
Yeah.
hook up to the permanent water system. But like you said, I think it's a good, we've been talking about it, I think it's something good to try
Yeah.
and work these things out, and then city council decide, okay, yeah, no, we're in support, let's buy it.
Yeah,
Or like, whatever, down the road, so. Based
We
on
could, there's a system down there, down at Confederation Landing, that we could hook up to the sewer system.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't need to be.
yeah, and then you think if you're hooking up, why would you use a container when you could build a small building? If you're gonna hook up to the city water and sewer, why would you buy this thing if you could actually build bathrooms?
Well, because, yeah, so we looked into that, Councillor Nago. The actual, so a self-contained one was about 300,000 by the time you include everything in. An actual standard type washing facility, if you actually set up and make it fully accessible, would run you in the range of 175,000 because of the cost of building materials right now.
Right.
So this is about half
Okay.
the cost.
Right.
That's the main thing.
And I think one of
it will
the-
stand up well, sorry, Councillor, but it'll stand up well on the actual waterfront too because of the material that's made in it.
And I think the other thing is the ability to be able to use it to different functions if you want to.
Yep.
Anyway, is everybody okay with that?
Just
Peter?
a couple of points. One, if we're going to lease it for next year for a 7 months, plus the cost of the ramp, actually over 30 grants paying for half of this in 1 year that you may not be able to keep unless we are able to negotiate. The other point is that if we take out the holding tanks, we go directly to the pipes and water and ground, we may be able to squeeze 2 more in here, so we have a 4-unit building, 4-unit rather than just the 2.
But then you're taking away the possibility of moving it around, right?
But if you wanted it fixed there, you could do possibly 4, but if you want to move it around, it would stay the same.
Okay, so there is options. So Nancy and I will have a chat with the company and collect some more information before we, like, say what road we're going down.
Well, I think if unless anybody has any concerns, it sounds like we're going down the road, but I wouldn't mind the committee, everybody seeing a final picture design of what we're actually going to be going with.
Yeah.
I think everyone wants to see that before we do a purchase or anything.
Yeah, so we'll get them to send them. I'm sure they must have some type of presentation. I know you can go on and watch a video online. So we'll see if we can collect the information and send it out to you.
Okay. So,
And just one more question. So whether there's 2 or 4 bathrooms, they will all be gender neutral?
Yeah, unisex, yeah.
Gender neutral, okay.
well, they're all single, so
They'll be all single
They would be
washrooms.
general neutral anyway. They're all single washing.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
These are gender neutral. Mr. Chair, I just got here late, I was at a funeral. Just, so on this washroom that's going down the Confederation landing, it's, what was the price? I didn't hear the price.
70,000.
70,000 plus applicable taxes, and then it would be the ramp on top of that.
It's on.
It's on the
Okay.
last sheet.
And it's also between 20 and 30,000 extra if you were to hook up to the city water and sewer.
Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. I don't think we need to move in second for that. We're just still, we're not buying anything, we're just moving on. That's information, so we're gonna move ahead. The 2021 capital project, Frank, want to give us an update of where we are with our...
Yeah, I'm just going to do a brief highlight of the ones that sort of I haven't touched on before.
Yep.
That's okay. And possibly ones that will not happen kind of thing. So the one that we're waiting on, the Victoria Park Shoreline Protection, that one is an ICIP application that's been put in on that one.
And have you not heard back from that?
We haven't heard back on that, and we won't hear now until after the election.
Well, that's not going to happen this year.
Well, it could potentially, if we heard from it, say, late October, that is a project that could potentially be done in the early winter months.
Okay.
Kind of thing. So it is one that could potentially start this fall.
Okay.
Maybe late fall, but it is one. It is one that I'm going to sort of follow up again because, as we all know, down at Victoria Park, that section is very vulnerable to high tides, water, storm surges and whatnot, so.
Probably the actual time of year you want to be doing it.
What's that, sir?
It's probably the actual time of year you want to do it, late fall, early.
Yes, yeah, and then what do you call it, Nancy staff, we have done some work down there to actually repair the actual end of Brighton. So there has been some stones brought in there from a construction company to help,
Okay.
to patch that. What else we got going here? The Wrights Creek Bridge project replacement, that is underway. I don't know if anyone's been out there, but it's quite an interesting construction process. They've been driving the piles. The
Yep.
piles are 55 to 60 feet long, so they have a large crane that's driving it. They hope to have all the piles finished by the end of this week, early next week, and then they'll be decommissioning or ripping down the whole bridge completely. They have sections gone now, so it is coming along. It's scheduled to be finished by mid-November, late November. And the playground equipment, we didn't have a big order this year, but the equipment we did order has been delayed due to COVID-19. So right now, Nancy's expecting it, and I think the last thing was mid-September. So we've got one large structure that we would hope to get in this fall. And the other ones are swings and small structures that we would look at, like they're single piece, independent pieces that we would put on to put in next spring, first thing. So it's just unfortunate, but
Okay.
and as we already talked about, I think the other projects that are outstanding right
So,
now.
like Centennial Park, where are we with that, or
Oh,
parking lot?
Yeah, so Centennial is, it's been awarded, the contract's been signed. I think we're waiting until after this long weekend.
Yeah, I talked to them, they said next week or the week after.
Yeah, so, and same with Mulberry
And
Park.
the park, Mulberry?
It'd be the same time frame, yeah, so the both of them.
Tender.
What's that?
You've got the tender, one tender.
On a coastal. On a coastal, yeah. So they were waiting till after, this weekend's a busy weekend at Mulberry Ball Field. So they were waiting till after that weekend before they started to rip up the whole parking lot.
Perfect,
And same
okay.
with Centennial. So they're both underway, and the window of opportunity is still there to get her completed. And outside of that, the Frank Macaulay bridges are done. So you can scoot there. We're just looking at a few deficiencies around that, but they're pretty well complete.
Perfect.
Mr. Chair, could I just ask about one project?
Yeah.
You might have covered it. Simmons Arena.
I-
$15 million under capital project there.
Yep, so as of right now, we have an ICI, sorry, I missed that one. We do have an ICIP application in this, we're quite aware, we didn't hear on it before the election. So we're waiting to hopefully hear from that right after the election. We are working right now on the design phase.
Okay.
So we went through the preliminary design phase, right now we're on the schematic design phase, and we should be, hopefully, within a week or so, have the more detailed schematic design, and then we'll be going to the detailed design. So we would hope to be going out to tender, if we hear on the funding, late November, early December, and then in January. So
Tendering for design or tenders?
tendering for actually awarding the contract, yeah. So it's, this announcement not happening before the election has delayed things a bit, but it's also given us a bit more time to actually focus on making sure we got every single thing we want in the design here.
And I think too, it kind of can be looked at later, but really not, because we had staff go over and check in some of the facilities that had a track up top, so we're looking to incorporate the track, not on the main floor, but up above.
Oh,
So the architects are working on that, so that's taking some time to redesign that. So that's in play right now, so,
any change in the design of the pool?
no, nothing I'm aware of.
Any change in the design of the pool that we presented to the public?
Well, that'd be tweaking and stuff. We took in some of the comments and made from the public, and we've actually been addressing those through the design.
And I know I'm getting some emails from some of the residents, are we doing another public, just open house on the final design?
That is something when we bring back the next phase to the committee, it's something if the committee decides they want to go to the public, they just sort of say, here's where we're at right here now. So I'll discuss it.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be an issue with that. We'll have the final design, showing what it's going to look
And
like.
just have an open house like we had
I mean, at that point, yeah. The other thing I'm talking about with the raised track, I mean, that has to go to council, that would be approximately another $500,000 to the project. But I think, as most people will tell you, if you're gonna do it, you wanna do it right. And I think from what we've seen over in Windsor, certainly eliminates a lot of the Zamboni coming in and out, people coming on and off the dress rooms. So I think at the end of the day, it would be much better served for the city of Shoreline residents to have it on
I
top.
think Time Valley has an upper level track, do they not?
No, they did not.
They weren't ground level?
No, they couldn't, they don't have a walking track in there, so, because of the cost. It is an increased cost, and you have to have your building has to be designed a certain width. to allow-
Rusticum may very well have theirs, I think it's on the ground.
Steel's not even in yet.
What's that?
Steel's not in yet for that building.
So that's what's happening here too, so as
Okay, so
well.
we pre-engineer building, get in the lineup.
Well, no, so right now, us being going a little later, we're actually better off, because right now things are delayed because of COVID,
Yeah.
but they hope to be getting back on track next spring. So,
Well, Public Works, the new building for Parks and Recreation, Water and Sewer, we might be looking at April or May next year for the steel to line.
yeah, so that's what they're saying, so.
Which is way behind it.
So there's really, I have some pictures and stuff too, if you want to see sort of designs of other buildings and whatnot. They were very, like you said, Windsor is a new facility that opened last October. And a community type facility like the top of the building, so it was very, very good to see when you go into the atmosphere of the building and whatnot. It's what we sort of really want to feel as well, so.
Right on. Anybody got any other questions? Okay, we'll move for
Sorry,
adjournment.
Mr. Chair, I was just.
No, that's great.
Yeah, oh, sorry, Bobby, yeah, we had, what did you, oh, the name of the park, sorry, yeah, new business. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, just one sec, Bobby, just one sec.
Okay.
You had a question?
Yeah, Frank, if we start in the fall, or in the spring for the new Simmons Arena or complex, it'll be done by, is it a year's project? Some people ask me.
It would be more than a year, so we're talking probably, if you started in the spring, you potentially would have your pool open up June 2023, and your actual arena and everything else open September or late August of 2023.
Okay.
So it's about a 6-team, especially when you have the pool, the multi-purpose room. It's a large, the walking track, so there is a few more things. If it was just an arena, yeah, you could do it in 12 months. But
Right.
Okay, Bobby, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Bernard. I'd just like to bring forward again the naming of Centennial Park. I know we had a former deputy mayor there that's lived across from this park for the last 50-some years. I myself live across from him and watched him walk his dog every day. He had 4 little dogs over the last number of years, and he used the park a lot. He actually had a committee over to his house and gave us his ideas about the park. With it was widening the pathways, planting more trees. You know, he's very passionate about Centennial Park. And, you know, I spoke to his wife, you know, and the family. They're very excited if this was ever a possibility. And I'm just throwing a name out like the Roger Burt Memorial Centennial Park. I'm just looking for some support to see if we can move this forward. You know, I myself, like I said, spoke to Mr. Burt on numerous occasions in the park. He's very passionate, and I think this would be a fitting memorial to him. I know, you know, it's hard to change names, but maybe just adding on to the name would be a possibility. I'm just wondering if, you know, the committee could support this to move this initiative forward. What are your thoughts?
I think for me, my first thought would be, you know, if there's no criteria in place, we should have a criteria in place for how you go about naming
I agree.
parks. I think that's the first of all. Do we have criteria in place, Frank or Nancy?
no, there's not. It's just on a request basis. Yeah. Each time a request comes in. So.
We did it for the outdoor venue at Hillsborough Park. There's no criteria for naming multi-sport venues. There's no criteria for naming.
It was a
parks.
new, yes. The difference that was a complete new facility. So
Yeah,
it's
but
easier
we
to-
named it.
Yeah, we named it.
But
so.
the point is, I think what Councillor Duran is saying is that Roger Burt.
Oh, yeah.
We named Elmer McFadden's,
The baseball field back in 2001, 2002.
But there was a whole criteria written up
No.
on why it should be named after.
I was chair of Parks and Recreation at that time. The name.
I requested it. It was
Yeah,
passed in,
but
but
there was
Jimmy
no,
stuff.
there was no criteria.
Oh, there may not have been criteria, but there's a whole list of
List of why.
reasons why.
Exactly.
Yeah. It was
And
good.
I support Councillor Duran's recommendation. And if he wants to move a motion, let's get this going, because it's easy just to call it the Roger Burt Centennial Park. Everything's still in place. And I think the Centennial comes, but as you said, it was named in 1967 as Centennial Park.
Yeah, like I grew up Maple Avenue, I mean, that was the park we always played at. So, yeah, I believe that was what it was built at, so that's why it's named that.
So I think it's a good idea, and I think Eleanor, Councillor Duran, did you talk to Eleanor?
Yes, I did. She phoned me and she was very excited because she knows the passion that Roger had for this park. And, you know, she was very emotional and very supportive. The family was very excited. You know, it's just you know, he was a great member of the community.
Probably.
You know, he took great passion in the park. you know, I can't say enough about him. You know, speaking with him in the park, he actually used to trim the trees and carry them around, and you know, I just think this would be, you know, a great thing for their family, and you know, I know we don't have a protocol.
Why don't you do
You know,
this?
I know we did it for the rink there with Cody Banks years ago when he passed along, and you know, I just hoping that we could move this forward.
Yeah, so why don't you, can you, Bobby, do up a little bit of a resume of naming of the Centennial Park and the reasons why we would name it after somebody, or name it after Roger? Can you come up with something like that? The only thing I'm afraid of, guys, is, you know what, what's going to stop anybody from naming any park or any piece of equipment after if we don't have something on record to show this is why we want to name it?
But
I think you have to have it.
Mr. Chair, I agree with you, but we were on council when we named Cody Banks. But Cody Banks, remember, came with some cash from the Banks family. We named the baseball field Alan McFadden
We
Memorial
also
Field.
did the Muse,
And we named the Joseph Gibbs Park.
but I mean, the J&M Muse Park in Hillsborough.
Those parts of town had never had a name before.
Sounds good, yeah.
So
We
I
just
just think
have
that
to
looking
have
forward,
Confederation drawn, yeah.
is there anything wrong with just putting a piece of paper
Oh, no,
together?
no, I agree.
That's what I think we should do. And then it's a lot easier to move from there.
So, Councilor Ron, if you want to do up something, send it out to myself, and then I will do it into an issue summary and send it to committee. And if they support it, then they would recommend to move it to council, because it has to ultimately have council approval, and then it would be brought to council.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's why I want to have something that I don't think you want to just go willy-nilly and say, here's what we're doing. It'd be nice to have something written down.
Yeah.
You got that
All right,
covered, Ron?
Sure.
Got that, Bob?
I could do something up and send it out.
Yep.
I appreciate it. I'm sure the community would appreciate it, so that wouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, Councilor Ron, just send it to myself, and then I'll put it into an issue summary format so that it follows the city's
City protocol?
protocol, and then we'll get her sent out and go from there.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it. Thank you, Jackie, Councilman Ed,
Yep.
and the committee and the mayor, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Ron, and stay dry.
Is there anything else? Anybody have any questions?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, moved by the mayor, second by Alana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Nancy.
Bye now.
Thanks, Chris.